week has been bull. And on that note, welcome back to Tales from the Service Industry, where we sit around and drink wine while we tell stories. Tonight with me, it is Liz.
Hi, team.
And Gwynn.
Hey, guys.
Unfortunately, Ms. B is taking a bye week this week.
I do have an empty chair next to me.
So unfortunately, we will have to catch up with her on the next episode. But you've got the three of us tonight.
Yeah, and we're going to bring it.
I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Or possibly in the other order. We don't know yet.
You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know this is sequence-wise. We don't post immediately after we record. But right now we are in spring break, and I don't know how it's been for you, Gwynn. Unfortunately, I know how it's been for you, Liz.
Well,
spring break's been pretty on
had an
the
extended
relaxation side.
Well, yes, my personal spring break has been 5 weeks and 6 days. And my spring break ends tomorrow. I will go back to work after surgery. And you said it, I go directly into an event next weekend for work. So it's just work at a golf course. And like we check people into a specific tent at the golf course. So that's 3 days. In effect, I am not sitting at my desk catching up from leave. And then the following week is my area's spring break.
That's good, though. At least it's keeping you active. You're not literally just sitting at your desk the whole time.
No. And that was the benefit of really taking the 6 weeks is it gave me a chance to heal, even though I felt like I was ready to go back.
Emotionally or physically?
My doctor said physically. Apparently there's been healing going on the last 4 weeks, and I don't know. But when else am I going to get an opportunity to take a 6-week leave of absence feeling decent? I'm never going to get that opportunity unless I pop out a kid. But that 6 weeks is you are caring for a newborn.
No, does not relate.
No.
I mean, here, I was going to ask you if you could do me a solid and like push me down the stairs so I can break something and I could take 6 weeks off.
We can arrange that.
But
just don't sue me after or something.
Here comes Gwynn out of left field with the have a kid.
Yeah, no thanks.
Reality.
No thanks. Yeah, so reality starts again in less than 12 hours.
Our condolences.
Yes, thank you. So I think from what I have heard, I've been in touch with a couple people at work, and I stopped by about 3 weeks ago. I think I'm going to walk in asking the team what I could do differently because I think they are flourishing without me.
What's giving you that feeling?
Well, people have said, like, no, everything's, like, been great. Like, nothing really to report. Like, no big hiccups or oopsies with your team. And I'm like, that's freaking great. What am I doing there then?
Well, not to gas you up, but I think that really speaks to your leadership style.
And that was the hope. I pretty much sat down with my entire team and I said, regardless if I'm here or not, you need to still, like, do a great job.
You know what you need to do.
You know what you are doing. Don't mess around just because I'm not looking over your shoulder. So hopefully you're right, Gwen.
I say congrats. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll see. But I do have a couple people or one in specific that I'm thinking of that has failed a few times. And I really want to sit down with that individual. And I've heard specifically that they are doing amazing. And I kind of want to be like, how can we be a better team? What in my absence helped you flourish? And how do we keep that going now that I'm back? So hopefully it's just a good learning and growing opportunity for the whole team.
I love that. I love that. Are you planning on doing like one-on-ones with everybody? I mean, you just said you had multiple things that you have to do in the next couple weeks. Like, how are you going to take the time to do those pulse checks?
I think I'm going to kind of respect the team and kind of go into it, kind of just observe. You know, and that's really what I did when I first took over the department. I didn't ask many questions. I was just like, okay, teach me. How do you do it? What are you doing? So I think I'm just going to go kind of back to that and take a back seat and kind of let them come to me.
That's fantastic.
So whatever they have improved upon, if it was my way or the highway before, if they have a better way to do it now and a better way to be successful, I'm gonna take their lead on it. I'm just gonna kind of sit back for at least a week and kind of just let the team come to me.
I used to have a boss that...
You don't anymore.
No.
You are the boss.
No. I may be the highest level person
on
property, but I've got bosses that have bosses that have bosses all the way up. So I'm a slightly larger fish in the very big pool. No, what I was going to say is I used to have a manager that his whole mantra about good leadership is that when you leave, if the department runs so incredibly smoothly that you have to question to yourself, God, why am I here? You're a good leader. You have the ability to teach and train and develop, and your team responds to that. If you left and everything falls apart because you're doing everything, you're not delegating and you're not leading.
Very true.
So I think that is probably the biggest compliment your team could ever pay you, is that it's just running really smoothly without you.
Yeah, I was expecting to come out of surgery already having to put out fires with texts and phone calls. So I really have had this chance to not stress and really decompress. My doctor said the one thing that can help my nerves is don't stress and don't do any really hard drugs, which I don't. And
why and how did that come up?
that was just in his spiel. I don't know.
Okay.
And then he said, no, binge drinking. I don't want you to drink alcohol in excess that you black out and get sick. And I was like, but a glass of wine every night is okay. And he was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So doctor's orders.
Nice.
So apparently ridding yourself of anxiety and stress can really help your nerves regrow. And that is what we were hoping for.
So, and since Ms. B is not here in body, but she's here in spirit, I'd just like to add, look at Liz being all mature.
That's exactly what she would say.
I know.
Ugh, and so positive.
I was going to say, is this going to be a positive podcast, guys?
No, we can end that here.
No, because it's spring break, and I have no idea where this episode's going to go.
Are you on spring break?
Yeah. I mean, I'm working spring break.
Yeah, of course you are.
We had to clean rooms the night before last. Had to clean a room tonight.
Yeah.
Wait, you cleaned one?
Yeah, I
Good
will
to
still.
see you get back in your housekeeping roots.
I will still throw it down with my team. I have no problem with that.
you will.
You gotta keep the muscles working, the muscle memory. You have to kind of bring it back.
I even got a compliment on the beds that I made.
No way.
By whom?
By a room attendant, no less.
Oh, was it in our survey? Because that's
No.
really what matters. Okay.
No, it was not in our surveys.
I was thinking about this earlier, how many years across the room we all have.
Oh.
I'm coming up on 8 years.
29 for me.
Hospitality service industry, not including other customer service jobs, because I'm sure we have more
Oh.
years of
Oh, yeah, no,
experience with that.
I've got other jobs.
Okay, yeah, I've got 10.
Yeah, and then I'm sure Miss B has at least 10.
In stereo.
Jinx, you got me a soda.
My guess is 12 for her.
Okay, so 29, 8, 12. Okay, so that combined is 49.
59.
Almost 60 years of experience
Yeah.
around this table.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, we are on season 3 of the pod.
That's true.
So
40 some episodes in.
we can call it what? 2.5 years of recording?
Yeah,
Holy moly.
I know. 2.5 years of therapy.
That's very healthy.
It's so healthy.
Is it? Is it now?
Does it help you?
Yes and no.
Keep going to your normal therapy,
I
too.
was going to say, my normal therapist.
Where do you think I was last night?
Yeah.
No, my therapist always tells me that this feeling will pass.
Yeah,
I'm
when
feeling
you
super-
pass.
Oh, gosh.
Or it'll pass and come right back. You'll have 5 seconds and be like, ooh, there's anxiety.
Finds its way.
Anywho,
So I shared a story with you guys about a guest that was upset about his stay and demanded compensation.
Which time? Which guest?
yeah, give me a little,
So-
a little more
I need
detail.
a little bit more.
I know. I'm just letting you process. The story went that the guest checked in, did not like the smell of the room, and said that there was a stain on a pillowcase. So he contacted the front desk. Front desk immediately moved him to another room. The next day, he expected to get service, but did not because it's an every other day
Yes.
a cycle with the brand, right?
Oh, okay.
That guy.
Yes, I remember
I
this.
remember.
Yes.
He wanted more. And I said, well, you didn't report this during your stay. There was no way for us to verify it. I'm really just going off good faith of what you're telling me being truth.
This is a favor to you.
Right. So I gave him 10% off his whole stay. Not one night, not the second night, but all of it. What does my friend do? Rather than saying thank you and moving on, he
Opens a case.
Opens a case. We closed the case.
Ding, ding, ding. Close the case.
We explained what the compensation was. No further compensation, closed.
Okay.
3 weeks have gone by. Guess what I get yesterday?
What?
A reopened case. Guy's upset, saying that it still doesn't feel right, and that if I don't do more, he's going to go elsewhere. He's going to ditch our brand and go to another brand.
How faithful is he to your brand?
He was a strawberry, the lowest tier of the berries.
Yeah, so you can find another brand.
I don't like that attitude because it's always been easier to retain a customer than to find a new one. But at the same token,
his reason isn't justified.
Exactly. His reason has no justification. He wants his stay comped.
Comped?
Why?
Comped?
I don't know. I'm not doing this because of a dirty pillowcase and your perception that your room should have been cleaned. I'm not.
If it really bothered him that much, there would have been an effort made.
And there was no effort made. There was no calls logged. There was nothing.
So he sat in his room, huffed and puffed.
I was going to say,
bed wasn't made.
Grumpy.
And then went to bed.
Yeah, so he took 1,000 milligrams of GrumpyButt and called it a night.
Oh, 1,000?
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, doctor's orders, apparently. So
Dr.
Not
Bill.
the hard drugs.
I would have prescribed something else. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm just not going to give him anything else. Everything that had been discussed before in the previous complaint, we recapped that, sent it back, closed it. So we'll see what he does next.
What was his purpose of travel?
Fun.
I didn't really have a follow-up to that question. I just wanted to know.
I was waiting with a drum roll in the background.
Yeah, there was nothing.
See, and maybe this is a topic for another day, but I feel like our leisure guests are more demanding than our business travel guests.
I think so. But I think there's some caveats that add some nuances to it.
Fair.
I agree with you for the most part. Until it's a berry member, depending on how shiny of a berry they are.
That know how to travel, and they travel however many nights a year.
Right. So those people are usually pretty cool when they're on business. But when they are on their pleasure trips, they are Jekyll and Hyde because now there's like
They know the expectation.
Well, yes, but there's that low-key flex for their loved ones that are with them that are like, I'm a blueberry, I'm a blackberry, I'm a raspberry,
Don't
whatever
worry,
it is.
I'll handle it. I'm a blueberry.
Yeah, you're with me now.
But see, we're not talking about blueberries. We're talking about strawberries.
No, I know, but look, strawberries have egos. They have that aspiration of being a blueberry at some point, and they think that they can skip over blueberry and the raspberry and go straight to the acai or whatever it is at the top.
This is where positive Gwynn comes out.
What?
Oh, God.
Well, no, because here's like a big point of my training that I always brought to every front office team. I love that we're getting refills on this subject.
You know what? If we're going to refill,
the refill came kind of quick tonight.
It did.
It might be a 2-bottle night.
My point of training with my front office team is that this is, especially for strawberries, their own hard-earned money.
Right. Mm-hmm. They could be getting all the points from business, but the minute they turn leisure and they're spending their own money.
Yes. And so, I mean, we're talking about strawberries, right? So easy numbers, easy brackets that I used to always explain to my team is, okay, we're looking at that folio. That folio, let's say for easy numbers, $1,000.
Okay.
We're used to seeing $1,000.
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing all of the food and beverage from all the local restaurants that they are doing to feed their wife and kids. You got a family of 5 now, not including the airfare for 2 adults and 3 children, not including the rent-a-car. Mm-hmm. I've had toilet paper thrown at my head by a lady who was so upset because her room wasn't cleaned. This was during COVID. Clearly, like you're saying, the expectations, everything wasn't properly explained
she gave you
to her.
a favor giving you toilet paper.
She was upset. No kidding. She
asked for 4 more rolls to steal.
She was upset because it was like a half a roll, and she's like, how is my family of 5 supposed to wipe their bleep at the end of the night when nobody's here to deliver more toilet paper? She's like, you should have done it throughout the day. And so it took me a good minute to calm her down. But once I kind of changed my perspective, she's not mad at the toilet paper. She's not mad at me. At that point,
She's just taking all of her frustration out.
yeah, it's not about the toilet paper. It's not about the room was cleaned. She's just mad.
She's just mad and wants to yell.
There's validity there.
And
Yeah.
especially when it's a strawberry, because that is the money that they've been saving for the past year, 2 years,
Very
3
true.
years.
This is your one vacation.
one vacation a year. And it's never really about the toilet paper.
No.
That's about everything else.
It usually is. But that's why like strawberries and blackberries are the ones that give us the worst
Which
surveys.
one's blackberries?
I would throw blackberry in the second tier.
Okay. Maybe
know,
the
it's-
third.
It's the blueberries and the raspberries that their companies
That's
are paying the majority of their stays. The other challenge is like, for the brand that we work for, the rewards program is a solo participant. It's to you. It's not to your family. It's not to your friends. It's you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is a hill I'm pretty much planning to die on.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Is that your rewards program is for you as an individual.
And it's written that way.
That it's your soul, that it's for you only.
Yes, terms and conditions clearly state it is an individual account, period.
I should read those just for shits and gigs.
Maybe.
If you want to lose part of your soul, sure.
I am a rewards member. I probably should have read what I agreed to.
So maybe,
Yeah.
but every single day, I've got people checking in on their spouse's account, and their spouse is not here. I had it again this evening before I left. So the guy comes in, he's like, oh yeah, I'm here to check in. And the girl that was working the front desk says, oh, what's the last name? He gives the last name, and I'm heading out. I had one more thing that I wanted to look at on the system, and I'm out the door. Unfortunately, I'm also listening to this conversation.
You're trapped.
I'm stuck, and it's like, he says, oh yeah, my wife should have already checked in. So we pull it up and the account's not checked in. So then the girl tells him, I'm sorry, it's not checked in yet. Is your wife joining you shortly? And the guy flat out says, no, she's not here.
What?
It's like, well, wait a minute.
Wait, whoa.
Pump the brakes, Holmes. How is it that your wife was supposed to have checked in if she's not even here?
Oh, did he tell her to do mobile check-in?
Probably.
So that's exactly like
digital check-in, check-in, yeah.
Oh, it should have been checked in. Like I just am wanting a key or something like that's what he was trying to do.
I think that's what they intended to do, but she didn't get it done. So then he explains to us that she's not even here. And it's like,
she's actually not coming.
Well, hers is the only name on the account. I can't check you in. And there's this instant, oh, well, you're the only hotel. What am I supposed to do? Well, first off, let's pump the brakes just a second and let's walk through this. So he ends up calling her, and we made the exception for him.
Oh, you did?
But we removed the rewards number from it.
So they're not getting rewards for their stay.
because it's an individual account. He's here, she's not. And she has no intention of being here because she's in another state. But what pissed me off was that he tried to make it seem like she was going to be here.
Like, oh, she's not checked in?
Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
Weird.
And it's been like this every single day, this whole week,
because
multiple times, because it works. And it's always you're the only hotel. Really? I am the only hotel out of thousands of properties. I'm the only one that's actually adhering to the policy.
So forgive me really quickly.
I am the only one out of thousands of properties that actually adheres to the policy?
No, absolutely not. No,
Okay.
no. But I just thought of something. Remember back in the day when we used to have our guests check in and they'd be like, you're the only hotel who's ever charged my card incidentals?
Oh,
I get that every day.
You still get, I was going to ask
Every
because
day.
I haven't been on property in almost 2 years now. I remember that always being the biggest thing. That was always, in my opinion, bigger than it's my wife's account, it's my husband's account. You're the only hotel who's not going to check me, and da 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 da.
I've never been charged an incidental.
I had a blueberry like 2 weeks ago that got all up in my because of that. I travel all the time, and keep in mind, blueberries are 100 nights a year or whatever it is. Like they're up there, and he's trying to tell me he never ever gets charged an incidental.
No, you just don't notice it, sir.
Come on, man.
You're not looking at your corporate credit card statement.
So we've talked about this in the past when it comes to people using like weird debit cards or what were they, preloaded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to charge them for like room and incidentals, the money runs out on the card.
Yes.
Like, can you just please use a real credit card?
Versus
Don't use a debit card. Don't use any loaded thingamabob from Who's It Bank. Just use your credit card because then you truly won't notice it.
There's a lot that the guest can do better in those situations when it comes to checking in under a spouse's name or whatever. And then there's also something that I think that the guests need to remember, that it's not because
We're humans.
It's not because we're trying to make
that
your
too.
life hard. We're doing it for your own safety security. Which reminds me of a story when I was back on property.
I love it when I was on property.
Yeah, screw you.
It's like you're sounding like a blueberry, okay?
I do. I am. I'm
A
sorry.
very shiny blueberry.
The shiniest.
Inorganic, freshly cleaned.
Lifetime blueberry.
I mean, obviously, I think in our collective almost 60 years of experience, we have checked in a spouse or a friend whatever that wasn't on the reservation.
And it's bitten us in the butt.
Not every single time.
No, I'm not saying every single time.
But the one time it does,
it only takes once.
You don't make that mistake again.
Never.
And I'm sure your associates who you've worked with on property, and Bill, your current associates, probably are still learning that. It just takes that one time.
Here's my gripe with all of this, is that everybody has this weird view of hotels as being like swap meet barter. So you can argue about the rate. Like, you walk into a hotel, it's like, hey, I need to get a room tonight. Okay, well, it's going to be $200. Well, what could you do for $150? I can refer you to another hotel for $150. That's what I can do for you. It's like,
there's a brand 2 miles away that'll take you.
Yeah. Or, at checkout, it's like, oh, well, they didn't replace the plastic cups in my bathroom, so I want a comp night. Well, that's not how it works. It's like there's just this weird view of how the hotel industry works. And that carries over to reservations also. Why is it that people think that I could go check into a hotel under Gwynn's name and that they're going to be just like, oh, okay, well, welcome, sir. It doesn't work that way. I can't show up at the airport with a ticket in someone else's name. They're not going to let me on the plane. I mean, if I show up for a rental car, are they going to give me a rental car under your name, Liz? No. Why is it that they view hotels as being like inconsequential? I mean, it's all fine until you're fooling around with somebody and your spouse busts in the door with a key because the name is the same.
So that was the story I was going to share.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead. I didn't know, but you crawl over the internet and stories of that are everywhere. I mean, I've known, fortunately, it's never been in a hotel that I've worked in, but it's been for brands that I've worked for where people have done dumb things like that.
And got caught.
It's resulted in like severe injuries and death.
Oh, geez.
I mean, spouses that catch cheating spouses, things go sideways really quick.
Yeah, they do.
And it's
really fast.
I was going to say it's not their fault, but let's not defend anybody. Let's not defend any actions.
Yeah.
But going back to my last hotel, I got a call one morning from my boss. Can you come in early this morning? And I'm like, yeah, is everything okay? They're like, yeah, we just want to do a property walk with you. There's some stuff that we kind of just need to sort out today. We kind of want to get a head start on it. I'm like, sure, no problem. Fast forward, I show up on property. Boss is waiting for me.
Oh.
So he's like, let's go check out the fitness center. Let's go check out the pool. Let's just go see.
Those are so nerve-wracking. Sorry to interrupt you, but so nerve-wracking.
Especially when it's your responsibility.
Yes.
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah. I was like, did my boys not restock the pool?
Right.
Are there dishes?
Right.
Yes. I'm like, what happened last night? Who closed? Who closed?
This is bringing back nightmares of my job.
Exactly.
Like once a month. Instead of our one-on-one, let's go on a walk. And I'm like, oh, shit. Who's working right now?
Yeah. Who worked in the past few days I have to be worried about.
Yes.
Yeah. So fast forward, we're walking around the pool and I have housemen and engineers picking lingerie out of trees. I have a woman.
What?
I have a woman sitting on a chaise next to the pool, holding her head. I have an engineer fishing out what looks to appear luggage from the pool.
Did your boss know about this? Like before walking on the pool deck?
I 100% think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it was a test.
Yeah, I think so.
This is one of those, Gwynn, do you notice anything amiss
literally.
at the pool area here?
Literally. So come to find out, one of my girls who typically works in the back office noticed our team needed help. So she jumped out.
Okay.
She had previous experience. So I've never had a concern with her before. She took the gamble. This woman came up. Again, resort area. This is something that people need to think about. Education moment. When you're checking in with your entire family and the front desk person says, is there anyone else you want to add to the reservation for security purposes? You say yes. And if you're making the decision that your wife or your husband or your 18-year-old kid cannot be added to the reservation, you need to understand you're assuming sole responsibility for the room. You're not going to get a key. Mm-hmm. If you're in a meeting and your family's at the resort or your family's
too damn bad.
Which results in chaos at the front desk. Don't get me wrong.
Just add the other person.
Please.
It takes 3 seconds.
Please.
First, last name.
And make sure they have an ID. In this situation, again, resort area, leisure guests, they don't always do that. They're like, oh, whatever. Nope, just leave it under my name. Oh, my phone's on me all the time. I don't have to worry about it.
We're going to be out and about. We're probably not going to be at the hotel much anyway.
Yeah.
We're all going to be together.
Yes, 100%. So as a front desk agent, you're used to that spiel. So in this particular incident, the girl who works in the back decided to help out in the front. Wife comes up. I lost my key to my room. It's my husband's room. I need to get into the room. I have a meeting. I need my wallet, this, that, and the other, whatever she said. She obtained a key to the room. She walked in on her husband cheating.
But no wallet and got a key. Damn.
Security didn't escort her. Nobody escorted her. Nobody verified anything.
No.
Here you go. So what happened? She was on like the 7th, 8th floor. As it were.
Yeah.
She took everything within arm's reach and threw it off the balcony. Which was directly above the pool.
Was said cheater in the room?
Yes.
So he was just watching this go down.
He was caught. We're talking
like literally caught in the moment?
I don't go into those details.
It wasn't his hand in the cookie jar.
All I know is that
just his finger.
Ew.
From the resident deviant.
All I know is I had a guest at the pool deck holding her head.
The luggage fell on another chick's head.
Something fell on her head. I'm pulling bras out of the tree. There's luggage in the pool.
So homegirl packed for an overnight stay with all her sexy lingerie?
Somebody did. And all of that got tossed off the balcony.
But was a girl on the pool deck? Okay.
She was so chill. We were like, hey, do you need medical attention? Do you want to go to the hospital?
She's like, no, I'll just take an ice pack.
Yeah. She's like, I'm cool. She's like, I'm chilling. And
ice pack, and I get to eat my popcorn watching this show.
Literally.
Watching you fish out lingerie.
She's like, can I actually get a refill? She's like, I need a margarita.
Hey, just bring me a bucket, okay?
That would have been great compensation. Look, I'm good, but I want margaritas for the rest of my stay.
I would 100% take advantage of that. But that's one of those lessons that we learn, and I would hope that our members and our listeners can learn, is that we do it for your own safety and privacy and protection.
Yeah. And if you had like a super common last name or anything, like imagine if you had the last name Smith. And someone could be a thief, just walks up to the front desk. I'm Joe Smith. This is blah, 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 whatever, gets a key and comes and robs you. There are so many instances where it's not like catching a cheater. I mean, good for that girl. I can't believe she got into the room. She shouldn't have gotten into the room, 100%. But good for her.
I think I told the story about there was a chain that I worked for where at best, probably a C-list celebrity, but a bodyguard that was traveling with him came to the front desk and got a key. Now, this was not at a hotel that I was working at, first and foremost, but he got a key. Yeah, this went through the brand, like, we're being sued by this person because of this action. So said person went to the front desk. It was known that he was the bodyguard. It was known that they were all traveling together.
Yeah.
So there was no question, and a key was issued. But his name was not on the account.
Oh.
So said bodyguard goes to C-list celebrity's room because C-list celebrity is sleeping with someone that bodyguard would prefer to be sleeping with. Goes into the room and ends up whooping his ass.
Oh!
Like full-on beat down.
Beat down. Needed medical attention. Okay.
Straight up hospitalization because said bodyguard...
Bodyguard proved his resume by beating up that dude.
No references required on that one. Yeah, so...
My last job, I beat this dude up and I got fired.
Yeah, I beat my boss. But at the end of the day, it was seemingly, I don't want to say acceptable, but it was known that they were traveling together. It was known that he was this guy's security.
Front desk probably thought, no big deal. It's his security. I'll give him a key.
Well, yeah, if they're included in a resume or in some sort of authorization
like
capacity.
If they're on the list of VIPs for that group. Yeah, which a bodyguard, well, maybe not VIP, but he's listed. He's listed as a point of contact for sure.
Yep. So long story longer, this is the hill that I'm willing to die on. I would rather piss off 10 people than come into work one day with 10 cop cars and a corner wagon in my parking lot.
Or just in a stream of lingerie being thrown from a 7th or 8th floor balcony.
While I would not want to deal with that, there's a certain amount of humor in that because that would be a pod-worthy story. You know what I'm saying?
Very
it's material.
True.
It's research.
But no one got seriously injured except for the free margarita girl.
Well, we don't know what happened when Home Slice got home, so.
We don't. We can
But
only
at the property,
did have charges pressed against us.
as you should.
0% surprised.
100%.
As you should.
Yeah. And that was one of those where it was like,
You just sit down with your checkbook and a pen.
You take the L.
And how many zeros would you like on that check, sir?
yeah.
Where's the comma in that?
Look at that, living here in spirit.
That was a hard one because I remember speaking with the associate about it, and I was getting pressured for automatic term, rightfully so. I'm not going to argue that fact. And so when I was face to face with the associate, I'm like, here's what we're looking at. You better give me a damn good reason.
Yeah.
And that was her reason, was why else wouldn't I assume? She checked the ID. The address matched the address because it's the spouse. She verified the phone number because she was the spouse, verified the email because she was the spouse, knew the Blueberry number because they were a spouse.
Dang.
So in that market, in that niche that we were, dealing with 90% leisure at all times, dealing with toilet paper lady who throws stuff at my head or whatever, you take your best educated guess.
If I were in that associate's shoes
6 a.m., somebody's screaming at you, no manager on duty.
in that area as well, I'd probably make the same mistake. Because I'm relating, I actually don't know where this area is, but I'm kind of relating it to my currently area.
I understand why an associate would do something like that if they didn't have faith that they were doing what they've been taught to do.
Ooh, very good point.
Thank you for calling me out.
No, there was a supervisor in the middle of said associate, and you was a manager, right? Dang.
I will no longer be hosting the podcast.
So I came across an interesting situation. It was a general manager who was reaching out because he had a lot of fraud in his area. He had a lot of attention in his area. So
Wait, is this story about me?
It should be.
I know. So much fraud.
So he got a digital communication from the member stating, I'm not going to be there. My wife is going to be there. Please go ahead and check her in. So his spidey senses went off.
Yeah.
Said wife comes in. He gave some pushback, ended up checking in the wife. So his claim to us was that A, I want to make sure that this isn't fraud because this is what we did. And B, our company needs to do a better job at explaining to our members that it is individual. So it was a two-parter. So I looked over the account. There was some stuff where I was a little questionable on
There were a
it.
few yellow flags.
But
Like, this is a little sus.
But because he was a super shiny acai berry, I did escalate the circumstance. Because yes, technically there is some wrongdoing here. The spouse shouldn't be having access to the account.
But he's a loyal acai.
And so
Which for our listeners, acai is higher than a blueberry.
Yes, top level.
acai is
Top,
the highest,
top
the
berry.
shiniest of the berries. So I escalated it because I'm like, it is warranted. I could send some communication regarding the circumstance. However, we want to make sure that we're not upsetting them either.
Of course. They're a loyal acai berry. You don't want to piss them off if you're wrong.
Well, not even wrong, because I wasn't wrong.
Ooh, oh, go off, Gwen. Go off.
I mean, it's black and white.
Yeah.
There's
So you
something
escalated
happening.
it to like your boss?
And their boss.
Whole.
Uh-huh. Well, because it's a valid thing. It's
No, I
something
like it.
that we discuss frequently.
I like it.
Especially when it comes to these quote-unquote high-value accounts. You always want to have a second opinion.
Yes.
Because if you're just making those judgment calls all the time...
CYA.
That too.
Cover
100%.
yo ass.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You didn't respond, so I was like, wait, is Bill lost?
Because his blood is already boiling. He already knows.
Your mind is already tinkering.
Oh my God. I'm already like chipping the name into my headstone and whatnot because I will die on this fucking hill.
And I get it. Fast forward, we decided that based off of the information that was in front of us, and because he is the shiniest of acai berries, we kind of did a really quick cost analysis.
What if we lose him?
Not quite what if we lose him, but let's look at the past 6 to 12 months of activity. How much of it is his versus his spouse?
Got it.
And in this particular circumstance, Majority ruled, leave it alone.
Oh.
Because the amount of business he was bringing in versus what was being quote unquote gifted or what is being shared. Minus gifted. Let's clap that.
No, I get that.
And I feel your face right now. 100%. Because honestly, if you look at the guidelines that are in place, it is black and white for the property. Mm-hmm. However, we also trust...
So wait, let me get this straight. Was it the husband or the wife's account?
Husband.
So husband. But the majority of activity on the account was the husband's. Mm-hmm. And the wife had a stay.
A couple
here and there.
Yeah.
Here
in comparison, it was maybe 10 to 15%.
10 to 15%
was in her name.
Was fraud.
In her name.
So I guess technically it could be considered fraud because it's outside the policy.
Correct.
But it's not fraud because it's not someone he doesn't know.
So what the basic lesson here is...
This is such gray area with spouses and rewards accounts.
No, it's not that it's gray. It's that they will buckle like a belt for the dollar. But see, this is the problem that I have, though, is that, like, you hit on it.
It creates the beast.
Right,
for
but
sure.
You hit the nail on the head, though, of what my gripe is with it, is that it's your policy. I'm enforcing your policy, and then you're throwing me under the bus for enforcing your policy. Mm-hmm. That loops back to the whole conversation point of just a few minutes ago of if your employees know that you have your back, they're going to do what's right because they know you will back them up for your policy. I have no faith in the brand at this point because every time I turn around, I get stabbed in the back.
When corporate just says, it's okay.
When a guest does something wrong and I call them out on it and they report it to the brand and then I get an email. And when I'm reading through the email and the guest is blatantly telling that person at corporate, I'm not there. I do this all the time.
And I did something wrong.
They're in violation of the terms and conditions, and I'm the asshole. And the guest is telling that person at brand they're doing things that are against the terms and conditions.
But he was mean to me.
And then I'm the bad guy, and they don't back me up. And that's really frustrating. And at some point, I understand why a lot of hotels just be like, okay, fine, do what you want to do because I'm not going to be supported.
And they're inviting more of the problem.
I think we're hitting on too many points tonight. But that's something
that
I think so.
It's too much wine. Where's another bottle?
No kidding. Sad to say you probably don't even know the half of it.
I am absolutely certain I know less than half of it.
Yeah, because
my guess is like 30%.
It's a game of banana phone. And by
person 12, there's like 3 words.
It's a completely different sentence. It's a completely different message.
Yes.
It's a completely different everything.
Well, and that's what you're looking at.
And that's why I have so much empathy for these properties.
But you see that, again, that's what pisses me off, is that I'm upholding your policy. And in return for upholding your policy, I get stabbed in the back. And the problem gets pushed back to me to make some sort of resolution at the property. But I'm being told only a fraction of the story. So you're asking me to make a decision on your policy based on a very small piece of information that may or may not even be accurate.
What's being regurgitated.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, how am I providing good service when I don't know the whole story? I'm being chastised for your policies. And look, I get it with, staffing changes and all of that. I get it, but it's just not right. It's not fair. It puts us at such a disadvantage at the property level.
It puts everybody at a disadvantage.
Well, I think it's hardest to the ones who are face to face. It is the hardest
100%.
Hardest to that front desk staff and hardest to the member, regardless of what they are saying to the front desk and corporate. Like those stories could be totally different. They could be telling
more times than not
corporate one thing, and they could be telling the front desk, well, I heard this from corporate. Corporate told me this. Corporate told me you would give me this. And the front desk is just like, what, expected to just bend over and comply?
Yes. Mm-hmm. No drink, no Vaseline. Just bend over, grab your ankles.
I was going to say, pray. Do not pass go, do not collect $200.
No.
And just pray.
No kiss, no Vaseline,
and pray that
cocktails.
You just keep your job, keep your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hotel put you in this position for a reason to uphold these policies. And the minute you do, they're like, oh, well, you.
Yeah, and I cannot even tell you how many times I have guests that threaten my employees that I'm calling your boss tomorrow and I'm going to have your job.
Yeah. I'm going to get you fired.
Well, you know it's not a thing.
There's so many trashy managers out there. I would not put it past some people.
Okay. Oh, for sure.
To me, that's an empty threat.
Right.
Like, I got to the point...
No, but that's to you. How many years in the industry?
Altogether?
Yeah.
Like 8 years.
Okay, that's you with 8 years of experience. When you've got that new desk agent that's, 20 years old, this is like his or her first real job.
Or that's their career passion.
And somebody says to you, I'm going to have your job.
You freak the F out.
Right.
But
and
that's also part of the job. I'm sorry.
No.
It's part of the job.
No one prepares you or warns you for that part of the job. Even though with us having almost 60 years combined experience, we know this part of the job. But I totally agree with you.
Okay,
Bill.
whatever.
No, I totally agree with you. I have associates all the time and like, he said he was going to get me in trouble. I'm like, I don't give a who that is.
Yes. And they don't know it because it's first circumstance.
I'm privileged that I get repeat customers who are members every single day. I can kind of weed through before I actually hear the complaint of being like, okay, this has weight to it. Or no, you're just the asshole that complains every other forking day.
Right.
His opinion doesn't mean anything to me. I appreciate your hard work. Let it go. Try to let it go.
But it's hard. Thank you.
So hard.
Well, it's doubly hard when I see that their behavior has such an intense negative impact on somebody else.
That you care about.
Yeah, that this person is a part of my team and you are making a threat to that person. Threaten me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always tell my people, please do not do what I do. Because if I mess up, I'm accountable to my boss. If you mess up, you're accountable to me.
Correct.
So I'm telling you, you need to be professional. You need to follow the steps, so on and so forth. If I tell somebody something that you're shocked at, please do not repeat it to the next person.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. But like,
that's also a really hard lesson to learn.
It's really hard.
Incredibly difficult.
To watch your manager just do something total opposite, you're like, oh, that's hard.
Right. But when somebody threatens one of my employees, I will go back to that person. I mean, I've had people in the recent past that have made threats to me, and my response to them is, look, if you're going to take that stance with me, this conversation is over. I will not be threatened. You will not blackmail me. You need to leave. And it's like, it drives me nuts when people are like, well, I'm going to call corporate or I'm going to leave you negative reviews. So you're threatening me.
Yeah, you're blackmailing me.
If you're going to stand here and blackmail me, this conversation is over. You get nothing. Congratulations. You have lost.
Well, because you've already established you're going to send me a negative survey regardless. Why would I try and even care about you?
I got a survey recently, and I don't know if it was a male or a female, but the person said at the end of it, I have already left you negative reviews everywhere. I will never be back. Okay.
So why
great.
Am I going to try and make it right for you?
I'm not. I'm going to put 100% of zero effort towards settling your issue.
Yeah.
I would just give him a pre-canned response.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Copy and paste, baby.
And I'm going to add in just a couple of pieces and send.
To make it more personalized.
Done. Yep.
That's
Done.
what you do.
I'm washing my hands of you. A couple episodes back, we were talked about surveys that don't make sense. I had a guy that left me a survey recently. Says to me in the survey, I had a fly in my room.
Ugh.
On a 10 scale, what do you think the survey was?
Okay, on a 10 scale. How long was the length of stay?
2 days.
Anything else in the survey?
As far as comments or as far as like responses, like answers to questions?
Anything you would be willing to share with the class?
What else did he provide in his comments?
Yeah.
Most of the questions that he answered were like 7s and 8s. Some of them were 9s.
But the overall, the one that matters.
The one that matters.
The
is what
one
we're
that
talking
matters. Oh, you got a solid like 4.
A 6. Got a 6 out of 10 because there was a fly in his room.
6 out of 10. What's a passing score?
A 9.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We didn't provide said fly on your on your arrival.
You could have opened your balcony
Front door.
sliding door.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's
whatever
like,
it may be.
Yeah. So
we don't control the fly colonies.
No.
We try our best, but we don't.
But I get a 6 out of 10 for the fact that at some point during your 2 days, you opened your door
fly
and a fly got in.
You had one fly in your room.
And it died in the windowsill.
Most likely, yes.
It was probably half dead anyway when it entered said room because it was starving.
Yeah.
And it flew slow, so you could have killed it. For our listeners, if you had a good stay, despite maybe a fly being in your room,
it's not a 6 out of 10.
Despite, one little spider, creepy crawly, crawling across the desk. Despite your hand soap being crooked. Despite them forgetting a makeup towel. despite another 1,000 things,
well,
the hotel probably deserves a 9.
I was going to say, I think that kind of calls back to Linda's episode.
With pest control?
But what I received from that, and that I think a lot of our members and our guests need to understand, is that there's some things that are in and out of the hotel's control.
That we literally cannot. Oh, I thought you were talking about like bugs going in and out.
No, that we can't control.
Yeah. We try our best. We try our absolute best.
Are you really going to complain about a fly?
Apparently, yes.
Like, I shared this story with you. I traveled for work. I think it was just about a year ago now. And it was a hotel in a decent area. I chose the hotel. Again, I chose the hotel.
You picked it.
I picked it.
You could read the reviews. You could look at photos.
And I did.
You probably knew someone that worked there in the past or had.
No, I wish I did.
You don't think you had second or third degree correlation with this hotel?
No, because this was out of state.
Okay. But brand.
Oh, yeah. 100%
Relationship
brand.
with the brand. Hello.
Sure. But when I arrived and I checked in, there was a petrified friend in the curtains. There was blackout, and then there were the shears behind it.
Yes.
Our friend was embedded in the shears.
It was trapped?
He was there. I gave him a name. I gave his name Alfred. But you know what? He wasn't hurting me.
Had a funeral for him.
Officiated by the Tidy Bowl Man.
He wasn't hurting me, but also there's a perspective as an associate receiving.
Like how many people looked at this room and missed it?
Yeah, exactly. But also on the receiving end of checking in as an employee, we don't always reserve the same rights as our normal members.
True.
But for me,
you're giving the hotel the grace it deserves.
Well, also I have worked in hotels.
Well, the people in that room are humans. We do make mistakes.
Yeah, but what about when the employee that's checking in is a blueberry?
Are you calling me a blueberry right now?
No, I wasn't calling you a blueberry.
Not in this instance. No, not right now.
But I have plenty of employees that check in that have status. And they like to
they're entitled blueberries?
They like to flaunt the fact that they're a blueberry.
Oh, it's so bad sometimes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like, Home Slice, you are traveling on a very, very deeply discounted rate.
Privileged rate.
Incredibly so.
Sorry, I'm baffled.
Rates that are a fraction of what your cell phone bill is every month.
True.
And they throw the entitlement of, but I'm a BlackBerry, I'm a Raspberry, I'm a this, I'm a that. No, you're an employee. And your behavior is reportable.
And this is a privilege for you to stay in this hotel for this rate.
Yes.
But
it's truly a privilege because in my hotel, it is not branded. It is independently owned. I do not have rights to stay at that hotel. I am forbidden to actually stay on property.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
as you should be.
As I should. So when I am lucky enough to have friends in the industry for other brands of hotels, and I'm lucky enough to stay at a discount, I am so forking thankful. I mean, Miss B has said it 1,000 times. I am the ideal guest.
You are.
And I hope our listeners learn something and take something away from these conversations on how to be an ideal guest. We are there for you. We are providing a roof over your head, a bed for you to sleep in, but we are human. We make mistakes. And if those little mistakes, if you could just give a little bit of grace, it would mean the world to us, and say thank you and just be kind. And if you have an issue, just communicate it. We are there to help you and to make it right.
Yeah, but the mentality of grace is only one directional in a lot of guests' view.
Yes. I am going to interject though.
Please.
Because, not just speaking for our night auditors, because you have a very beautiful night auditor.
You do. Everyone out there, you do.
No, Bill does.
Bill does specifically?
Yes.
I've got good night auditors.
Amazing night auditors. I've had some really good ones in my past as well. Night auditor is a very special breed of person.
It is.
Not to say that can't carry over into daytime team, AM, PM. But there's something about hospitality.
Something special about the night shift.
That's their identity. That's their home.
Well, and they have a sense of ownership over the entire hotel.
Yes.
They walk in. There might be other people working at that time that they clock in. They do their pass on. Those people leave, and they are left literally alone. Because in control of the entire property.
Yes. Emergencies, non-emergencies, somebody's drunk, somebody's disorderly, somebody called the
cops. An engineering issue. It's them.
Well, like,
yes.
And at one point, I worked at a resort that was 550 rooms. And on the overnight, there were like, I think it was 14 people for the entire property.
They were probably so overnight. Close.
I know for a fact that there were 2 night auditors. There were 2 security. There was like a half a dozen housemen because we would,
random crap.
Well, we would have to power wash the pool decks and the sidewalks and all that kind of projects. But yeah, there was like, a little over a dozen people on property for a hotel that employed 430, I think it was at their peak.
That group was so bonded.
So
bonded.
They take so much pride in their product. I find night auditors to have the best hospitality. Don't get me wrong. When you get face to face with them, sometimes day versus night, you're like, all right, you're a little, for sure weird. But when you actually see them in their element, they are so prideful. They're so joyous. Like, I've had night auditors walk off the desk and be like, let me escort you to your room. And I'm like, you can't leave the desk unattended, but I appreciate your hospitality.
Like, good job, but take a step back.
Exactly.
I don't know. I would kindly digress because I've had some wieners. Like
probably.
The very first hotel I ever worked at, one of the night auditors, this dude would lose his ish every single night. At the time, I was a bellman, so like I'm working until 11:30 at night. I mean, it was my first.
Yeah,
it was my first.
That's how you started, right?
Yeah, it was my first hotel job, and I would hear this guy.
Can you think a cute little Bill as a bellman? Escorting you to your room with a luggage car.
And it was in the tropics too, so shorts instead of having to wear pants.
Oh, that's right. These days, the bellmans, so a lot of times guests would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, you were great, like I don't have cash. Bellmans would literally be like, I have Venmo.
Yes. I've had
Zelle.
So many associates do that. Don't even get me started.
Anyway.
Sorry.
So this guy, I would be wrapping up the shift, right? And putting everything away, cleaning the carts, whatever. And I would look back because I would hear somebody screaming. And there would be the night auditor would have his death grip on the edge of the desk, just losing his shit because he's so frustrated. And then I would catch him like in the back drinking little
nibs. Are they nips or nibs?
I don't know, whatever it was, but slamming
shooters.
Yeah, slamming a pair of tequila shooters at 11 o'clock at night so he could get himself on an even keel to get through his shift.
No, that's not how you.
It's a nip. NIP.
Okay, perfect. Nip.
Research department.
So yeah, knocking back 2 of those to get himself righted to get through the shift. Please don't do that stuff. The times that I wish we actually had video.
We just had to give Bill a visual on nip versus nib, and they are actually nips.
And I'm a happier person. So anyway, I just kindly disagree that all night auditors are great people.
I did not say all.
We got the receipts. We'll rewind
fine.
the tape.
Yeah. We'll review.
All right. So enough of the tangents.
Yeah, enough. I think we are done for the night. We are capped out. I am tapping out.
Sorry. I think that spring break has been a little bit more on me than I thought. So I'm a little fired up. So
well,
are you?
Just a little bit.
Miss B isn't here to help.
Well, you know what?
No.
Usually
Ms. B would just be firing him up more.
Ms. B would be pumping the lighter fluid right into the raging barbecue.
And this is why we need her.
No, we would have been here all night until sunrise.
But in her defense, she would be carrying the other half of my grudge.
She would. You don't have the grudge from me. I'm sorry.
Versus us defending.
Toxic positivity on 2 sides of the table.
Sorry.
Ugh.
Wah.
I know. But look, it's the yin yang thing, right?
You can whine with, not wine as in drinking, but whine, wah.
We've been whining quite a bit this evening.
But you can whine with Miss B in another 2 weeks. How about that?
Fair enough.
And our listeners, make sure to Follow us wherever you are on social media, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn.
I know, LinkedIn is humming along.
So if you came from LinkedIn, could you please shoot us a DM or go to our website at tftsi.com, scroll all the way down to contact us. Leave us a little message. We want to know where you're listening from. We want to hear your story.
And if I can make a request, and that is that if you enjoy the podcast, which I sincerely hope you do, we are not sponsored, but we are looking for a little bit of support. So if you enjoy the pod, please hit subscribe and send a link of the favorite episode to a friend that happens to be in the service industry.
So yeah, share, subscribe, leave a review. We would love it.
So on that note, we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you guys. We love you all.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening.